Many years ago, in a peaceful town tucked beneath the whispering hills, there lived a young couple named Laura and Gideon. Their love was the kind that made even the birds sing differently in the morning. People said their home was the only place where laughter was louder than the cracking firewood, and where prayers rose like incense every dawn. Laura was gentle, with a smile that could calm a crying child. Gideon was patient and wise, the type of man who never raised his voice, but whose words always carried weight. Together they lived like two palm kernels in the same shell, inseparable, harmonious, and grateful. Every morning, Laura and Gideon woke before the sun, washed their faces with cold water from the sink, and knelt side by side to pray. Their voices blended like twin rivers, thanking the Maker for life, peace, and love. Afterward, they cooked together in the warm glow of their kitchen. Gideon chopped vegetables while Laura stirred the pot, and they teased each other playfully until the food was ready. They ate from the same plate, not because they were poor, but because they believed food tasted sweeter when shared from one dish. Their laughter echoed across their compound, and even their neighbors said, "Ah, may God give us a love like Laura and Gideon." But one windy evening, the troublemaker of all marriages came quietly like smoke that sneaks under a door. It started when a new couple moved into the compound, Jackson and Selena, the wealthiest pair anyone had ever seen. Their house shone like the king's palace in the sun. Selena walked around with golden earrings that looked like tiny suns, while Jackson rode in his white SUV that people wondered if it came from heaven. Every day, neighbors gathered around the couple, praising their clothes, admiring their expensive items, and talking about how perfect they looked together. At first, Laura and Gideon did not mind. They still prayed together, cooked together, and ate from one plate. But slowly, like the movement of a snail, comparison crept into their hearts. It began one Sunday evening when Selena invited Gideon and Laura to their home for dinner. Immediately Laura stepped her foot in the sitting room. She couldn't get her eyes off their cushion. The smart TV, it was the biggest she had seen. Then when they sat at the dining table to eat, she froze when she saw the chandeliers above the dining table. The couples discussed and get to know each other. Jackson and Selena did not stop to show off their properties and achievements, and that made Laura intrigued. When Gideon and Laura left after the meal, everything changed. Suddenly, Laura wanted to have everything she saw at Selena's house: the smart TV, the air fryer, the juicer, the gas cooker, everything, including the type of Selena's handbag and gold necklace. She started one evening when Gideon came back from work. She said, "Babe, don't you think we need to renovate our sitting room? Like giving it a new look. Let's change the paint color, the cushion, and TV. What do you think?" she said, smiling. Gideon looked at her surprised. Then he said, "Babe, there's nothing wrong with the painting and cushion. I don't think we should change it." Laura looked at him with a sad expression, then walked away angrily. 2 days later, when they were eating at the dining table, Laura cleared her throat and said, "Dear, don't you think we should put chandeliers in the dining table? It will look beautiful." Gideon looked at her and said, "Babe, we don't need it." Gideon has not understood what was going on until one Sunday morning when they were about to leave for church. Laura carried her handbag and suddenly felt it doesn't match. Then she said, "Babe, I think I need a new handbag. Not just any one, a designer bag." Gideon looked at her with his mouth opened. Then he replied, "Dear, you know we can't afford it now. We are saving for our future." Laura snapped and said, "You can't afford it? When will you be able to afford it? Like your mate, Mr. Jackson." Gideon was stunned. He does not know where all this was coming from. With time, everything changed. Laura never appreciates anything Gideon did for her. If he buys suya for her when returning from work, she will complain. Suya. Suya of how much? 2,000 naira? When your mates are buying Louis Vuitton for their wives. Abeg, no carry your poverty stain me. Gideon felt small and embarrassed because his own wife compares him with other men. And with time, Gideon stopped telling his jokes in the kitchen. Laura stopped laughing as loudly as she used to. Their prayers became shorter, their conversations became fewer, and their shared plates slowly turned into 2 separate plates. But while their marriage was growing cold, the neighbors discovered something strange. Though Jackson and Selena looked perfect outside, their home was full of quarrels. When the door shut, they argued like thunder and lightning. Jackson complaining, Selena shouted, and sometimes utensils flew like arrows. Their wealth was only like the bright feathers of a bird, fine to look at but meaningless in the dark. One sunny afternoon, when the compound was quiet, Laura heard shouting from Jackson and Selena's house. She stopped on the path, shocked, and moved closer to their door. When she heard noise of plates and utensils shattering on the floor. When she pushed the door open, she was dumbstruck. She saw Jackson and Selena pouncing on her mercilessly. When Selena saw her, she ran and hid behind her back. Laura was confused. She didn't know what to do. She just took Selena to her apartment. That was when Selena explained everything to her, telling her how Jackson has been abusing and beating her since she started dating him, even before they got married. That anytime he beats her, he will kneel down and beg her for forgiveness. And he will always apologize with an expensive gift. All those luxury bags, human hair, and fancy clothes are all apology gifts for the beatings. I thought he would change, masking everything up with smile and pride. But each day, he's getting worse. I don't think I can continue like this, she said as she collapsed into Laura's hands, crying uncontrollably. Laura consoled her and said, "My dear, it's better you leave now before it's too late. No one should stay in a place where their life and peace is threatened." Selina nodded slowly as she wiped her tears off her face. That evening, when Gideon returned from work, Laura served him his best meal. Gideon was surprised, but he kept his calm. After that, Laura prepared a warm bath for him. Gideon was still surprised because it's been long he saw this version of his wife since all the comparisons started. When he was done, Laura knelt before him with tears in her eyes, pleading for his forgiveness. "My love, I'm sorry. Forgive me for my actions, comparing you with Mr. Jackson. I didn't know that the house is not greener at the other side. I didn't know that every marriage have their own battles. Please, my love, forgive me." Gideon looked at her for a while, then sighed. "It's okay. I have forgiven you. I thank God that you are back to yourself before everything escalates. It's well. You can stand up." They both hugged each other and went to sleep peacefully. 2 days later, Selina packed her bags and left Jackson without looking back. The next day, an elder in the compound gathered everyone under the big mango tree at the middle of the compound. He cleared his throat and said, "My children, do you know why the tortoise moves slowly? It is because it carries its own house. Every creature has its journey. The moment you compare your paths with another's, you begin to lose your way." His words hit Laura and Gideon like fresh rain on dry ground. Gideon held Laura's hand for the first time in many weeks and whispered, "My love, I miss our prayers." Laura's eyes filled with tears as she replied, "I miss your laughter." That evening, they returned to their old ways. They cooked together, playfully, nudging each other like before. Gideon told his silly stories again. Laura laughed until her stomach hurt, and in the morning, when they knelt to pray, their voices rose once more like two rivers, joining after a long drought. From that day, they learned that comparison is the thief that steals joy and replace it with emptiness. They protect their love fiercely and taught young couples the same lesson. As for Jackson and Selina, their glamour faded, for even the shiniest spots cannot hide crack forever. People finally understood that peace is greater than wealth and love is stronger than show. And so, in that quiet compound beneath the hills, Laura and Gideon lived long, content, and united, never again allowing the shadow of comparison to darken their home. The moral lesson of this story is that comparison destroys marriage. Don't compare your marriage with another, because marriage has its own battle. The house is not greener at the other side. Hi, beautiful people of African Folktales by EBUBE. Hope you enjoyed the story. Please let me know in the comment section where you are watching this beautiful story from and what you learned from the story. Please support your girl EBUBE by subscribing to my channel if you have not done so by now. Like and share this beautiful story to your loved ones, your friends and family. Until I bring another story your way, bye.